Hi, welcome to the 4th episode of What's Baking with Sarah Morin. This week we will be baking lemon poppy seed scones, a tart and yummy treat for your next tea party. Let's get started. 2 cups of flour, so that the texture of the scones is somewhere between puff pastry and your grandmother's leather couch. 3 teaspoons baking powder, a leavening agent that isn't alive. Yeast is so needy and forces me to comprehend my lack of nurturing skills. 1 teaspoon salt. Salt will still exist after our extinction or eventual evolution beyond our current form. Let that sink in. 1/2 cup of shortening. This stuff is pretty gross. I have no solutions for that. 1 tablespoon of sugar to add some sweetness. The zest of 1 lemon. Make sure you clean the lemon before you zest it. You don't want any of the ground spice in your scones. Use the smallest grit on a grater to zest the lemon. Grate the outside of the lemon until the bright yellow exterior is completely removed. 1 tablespoon of poppy seeds. The plant that is associated with war and carnage throughout history. Show dominance by consuming their young. And finally, 3/4 of a cup of milk to add moisture to the dough. As for equipment, we will need a mixing bowl. Try to find one big enough to hold about 8 apples, or some other obscure measurement North Americans use to avoid using the metric system. A pastry blender, for cutting the shortening into the flour. You can use 2 butter knives if you don't have one. Finally, we're going to need a baking sheet and parchment paper. Mix the flour, baking powder, salt, sugar, lemon zest, and poppy seeds together in the bowl. The poppy seeds make it very easy to tell when all the ingredients are evenly mixed. Preheat the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I know that's a pretty high temperature, but the scones don't bake for very long, so it balances itself out. Drop chunks of shortening into the dry ingredients and start blending it in. Push the pastry blender down into the ingredients like you're mashing potatoes. Do this until the mixture is a similar texture to sand. Pour the milk into the mixture and start kneading. You can use a spoon to start off. Once the dough is homogeneous and shaggy, turn it out onto a clean floured countertop and continue to knead. This is done by pushing and folding it over and over again for up to 15 minutes. When it's smooth and consistent throughout, it's ready to be cut. Form the dough into a disc. Divide the disc into 8 equal pieces and let them rest for 10 minutes before baking. Bake the scones in the oven for 12 minutes. Make sure the scones aren't too close together. They will expand a lot. That's normal. You will know they are done when the edges are a light gold color. Place the baking sheet on a wire rack and let them cool for 5 minutes. They're sweet, but not to the point where I would consider them a dessert. Most of the flavor comes from the lemon zest. The poppy seeds are crunchy, but their overwhelming texture is flaky and soft. Overall, they're pretty good. That's all for this episode of What's Baking with Sarah Morin. I'm so glad I got to try this recipe out with you guys, and I hope I've inspired some of you to try the recipe out for yourself. If you like this episode, there are more like it on my channel and on my website linked in the description. If you have any questions, write them in the comments below and I'll try my best to answer them. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Bye!